I don't look at it as the years I've been in the industry. I looked at it as the transactions that I've been able to close, the families that I've been able to help, and the agents that have trusted my company and myself to help them grow in the industry. That's really what gives me the experience and the knowledge.
We definitely need here every Friday with us.
Yeah, because she knows what she's doing, but she doesn't want to commit. No commitment. Yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of the Real Talk Miami. I'm Luis Perez, joined by Jasmine Muse and Javier Gonzalez, three real estate professionals here in Miami, Florida. And today we have a very special guest, broker-owner of Century 21 Dorar Realty, José Luis Muse. But before we get on with the show, those of you who don't know who the Real Talk Miami is, our goal on this podcast is to bring you guys the inside scoop on real estate trends, business insights, and financing tips. We want to be your go-to source for all things real estate. On this podcast, not only will we be talking amongst ourselves like we're doing here today, but we'll also be interviewing industry leaders from all walks of life. Real people, real stories, real talk. So without further ado, I think today the best person to introduce our guest is someone who has a very special relationship with the said individual.
Mm-hmm. Yo soy tu papá. For those who don't know, meet the father. Very happy to be here today with all of you guys. And I'm very happy and excited to introduce none other than my dad and broker owner of Century 21 Dorar Realty, José Luis Muse. Thank you for being here today.
Well, thank you, Jasmine. Thank you, Luis. Thank you, Javier. And like I always tell you and your sister when we're going in the car, where are we going?
We don't need
a road. So I guess this podcast doesn't need road. You guys are going forward. I was anxious to say, hey, when am I getting invited to the podcast?
Yeah, we're thrilled to have you here today with us. We really appreciate everything what Century 21 Dorar Realty has done for us, for our careers, for our personal life. And of course, we want to hear a lot from you today.
Well, I'm ready. So shoot your questions.
Let's get it going. I think it's really important to have him as our first guest, just because we do work at Century 21 Dorar Realty. So it's gonna give us a big glimpse into who Century 21 Dorar Realty is, and then why did you start the company? Why did you start real estate, and everything else after and in between?
No, not only that, it's somebody who has over 35 years in the business. So the amount of knowledge that he's going to bring to the table is going to be unprecedented, without a doubt. So, to start us off, José Luis, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, why you got into real estate? For those of the viewers at home that don't know.
Well, it's short and it's beautiful in a sense. I always like business. I guess since I was very little. If you put something for me to sell, I was just there, sell, I guess. It's in my blood. But I started working in a restaurant, and that was actually the business that I liked. As I was studying business administration, I always had a focus in mind, restaurant. Never was real estate. But one of the things that usually you don't do is listen to your parents. And there was my father, preaching in my ear, José Luis, why don't you go into real estate? In fact, he gave me three options for me to go into. It was insurance company, travel agency, and then real estate. And I said, he's crazy. I'm sticking to the real estate part. He said, look, while you're gonna be working late at night, there's people are gonna be partying, having fun with their families, and with real estate, you're going to be helping people buy houses, feel their dreams. You're going to be well-dressed, and then you're going to enjoy your family as well. So that started opening, my eyes a little bit. And then my sister, at that time, she was also she was looking for a home. And I remember the realtor that was helping us, she showed up to the showing driving a beautiful green Jaguar. I
Wow.
said, oh my God, I think this is a sign I have to go into real estate. So then I did, I went into, I call or register at Century 21 University that they were located on Palmetto and 36th Street.
Are they still there?
No, they're no longer there. So I did my 63 hours. I got my real estate license in 1988, and then I came home, surprised my father with a license. He was all happy, and then it was the time of looking for an office. And one of the questions that I always ask is why Century 21. One of the things that I was looking is for a company that will provide training. When you come out of the school, yeah, you get a lot of the knowledge that you're going to use for your tests. But now I needed the knowledge and the support to help families either buy or sell a home. So I was looking for that company that had the combination of the training and also the name recognition. And I did my research, and all of them, Century 21 was the company that I at that time, and I still believe, is the company that offers new agents the training and the coaching and the support they need to start their career.
I want to piggyback off of something that you said, and you kind of glimpsed over it. You said that you worked in the restaurant business, right? And in the beginning of your intro, you mentioned, we come from different walks of life.
Absolutely.
So during that time that you worked at the restaurant, what skills or quality did you take from that job into real estate? Do you think anything was transferable? Anything is applicable? Maybe a work ethic that you can also kind of recommend to new agents that are getting their license? Like, what did you take from your job into real estate?
Well, a lot of the agents come into the industry, and sometimes they just want to do a transition from their career to the real estate industry. In my case, not only that I was going to school, accomplishing my AA in business administration, I started working at a restaurant at a very young age. And at that point, the position that I applied was to be a cashier. And it was funny because I remember they had a person teaching, how to work the restaurant, how to be a busboy, how to be a waiter. And the owner, they had nobody applying for cashier. It was actually his nephew and myself. And, so I was lucky to get that opportunity. Since I was underage, I had to work inside of the office as a cashier because they had liquor, so I was underage. So when they started training me, the person who trained for me to work the cashier said to me, you're ready to go. And then the owner came and he said, you know what I tell the person who's training you? Not to waste too much time. That if in half an hour he didn't think you had, to do it, yes, get rid of you. But yeah, you got the position. So what I'm trying to say here is that it's not easy to go into a business, and a lot of people think it's just going to business. No, I was also working at a Diario Las Americas, getting the newspaper and preparing like the inserts inside the newspapers. I was going to school, working on the weekends on the restaurant, and working in Diario Las Americas. Now, real estate is a beautiful career. I always say to my agents and everybody who's listening to this podcast, you have to look at it as a career. It's not a job. Now, first thing you have to invest in your knowledge. Now, what does the restaurant brought to me was dealing with people, talking to people, finding what are their needs. If they were allergic to seafood, if they were like they're celebrating a birthday or an anniversary or something in specific. So when I relate that to real estate, then I look for the needs of our clients.
Because right then and there, you were in the position of listening, right? Because you were a cashier. Did you ever get to the point where you were taking orders?
Well, I move on. Go
You're in a
ahead.
position of listening. You're not in a position of speaking. And I
thinking
think
too
in real
much.
estate, sometimes
Yeah.
it's really important to be a good listener. I think in all of life, but I would say in real estate, it's important to listen before you speak, especially when you're dealing with people, different personalities, different characters. So I think that's a big takeaway.
At the beginning, I said that a restaurant was one of the business that I wanted to open up. So I wanted to learn from the restaurant business from A to Z. So I started in the cashier, but then I work as a busboy, I work as a waiter, and then I actually end up almost running the business.
Wow.
So I wanted to know everything in the industry. So when I was in the cashier, I was working with money. So I needed to make the numbers correctly. So it relates to commission. You know how much commission you're charging, how much you're getting paid. So you work with numbers, and you work with the waiters too, because they bring you the order. You have to give them, whatever money you collect, the change. So you're talking to people. When I started working as a busboy, I was putting water, the bread, picking up the tables, but I was still working with people. They would say, "Hey, can you bring me this?" Or "Can you call the waiter?" And then when I started taking orders, then as I said, you started looking for the needs or working with that client. So that was related to me in the real estate.
And I have a question. From your time in the restaurant business, did anybody that you served end up buying a home from you or selling a home with you?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. In fact, not only in the restaurant business, the first home that I sold, it was in Hialeah. It was frame stucco home. And I'll give you guys a quiz. Guess what was the price of that home?
150.
150. Oh, you're far.
What year was this?
88.
80,000?
Yeah, I was going to say 80.
No, all three of you are wrong. $30,000.
Oh my gosh.
And it was a co-worker at El Diario de América
It's like buying a Honda Civic today.
that he had inherited his home from his father, and he knew that was already in real estate. Because one of the things that once you get your license, you have to let everyone know, especially your family,
Right.
your friends, your acquaintance, people that you gone to school with, people that you have worked before. You have to let them know that you're in real estate, and if they have needs or they have a question, you're here to help them. So he called me. He said, "José Luis, my father left me this house, and I want to sell it."
Amazing. That's all that experience combined from both business. For what I hear, it's coming with a lot of wisdom, a lot of same fields that you cross. Well, besides that, those advices, those experiences, what's the huge piece of advice that you can give to, let's say, a new real estate agent or somebody looking to get into real estate?
Well, first, call our office, Century 21 Dorar Realty, 305-264-6000. We provide training, we provide coaching and support. To me, we should always first invest in ourselves. And investing in ourselves is investing in knowledge. And that's what we bring to the table. We have online training, ongoing training through our Century 21 University. And then we also have in-house training. So we will sit one-on-one with the agents. We will sit with groups. And then we'll also cater to technology through Zoom, through webinars, but definitely training.
And I think that's a perfect time to interject and say thank you to our sponsors. We are sponsored by Century 21 Dorar Realty, located on 7281 Coral Way. The number is 305-264-6000 if you're looking to buy, sell, rent, or if you're simply looking into getting into the real estate business, the real estate career. Feel free to call once again 305-264-6000. And our second sponsor is Lion Plumbing for all of your residential or commercial plumbing needs. Feel free to call them 305-597-4555. Once again, the number is 305-597-4555. And that brings me to my next question. You mentioned Century 21 coaching and support. And you talked about when you sold that property to the gentleman at
Julio Hernandez.
Julio Hernandez. I'm assuming you were 18 about that time, correct?
Yep.
So for most people, whether you're 18, you're 30, you're 60, whatever age you are starting real estate, it's very scary to market yourself, regardless of whether that person is a family or a friend. What do you think, aside from, sometimes it depends on the people's personality, but what other factor do you think helped contributed to you feeling comfortable enough? Do you think maybe it was you being backed by Century 21, the name brand?
Well, definitely being backed by Century 21 opens the door. When you knock on a door or you're speaking to a client, you don't have to spend 20 or 30 minutes talking about your company. Century 21 is a company that's local, national, and worldwide. We're on over 80 countries. So definitely that helps you a lot. Now, the other thing that I'm going back to the first question, why Century 21? In particular, Dorar Realty, when I walk into the door, the brokers, Federico Peñas and Raymond Valdez, they were brokers who have been in the industry already, and they had the mindset of training and helping the new agent. So I said, this is the office that I'm looking, because I have the brand name, I have the training, and then the coaching and support. And then when I got my license in 1988, I moved right away because I wanted to know more about the industry. So right away, I got my broker's license in 1992. Then I got my mortgage broker's license in 1993. And then I became a certified instructor in 1995. Then the doors, selling, helping families. I became, that same year, number one, the top agent in my office. And in Dade County, I was among the first 21 agents for Century 21.
Must be really proud.
And I want to go back to what he had said, advice for new agents. When you were a new agent, what was the best piece of advice you got?
Well,
because you said you were the top producer your first year, so you had to have somebody that was...
Well, something in there.
The market has changed, and today we're sitting here on a podcast. When I started, we had the radio. I did, reality shows. We had a reality show was called Real Estate y su Finanza. And that I did it along with Alberto Cobos from Banker Choice. And I believe he's one of the guests that you're also going to bring to your podcast. So I'll be happy if you guys invite me to get with him so we can bring all stories.
Definitely.
But at that point, we were knocking on doors. We would knock on doors. We would look for sale by owners. When I started real estate, we were like the Flintstone ages. We had books that we would look for properties. Back then, it was like the black books, and then after that, there came the MLS books. So it was the South, the North, the East, and then by the time you called for the property was already sold.
Wow.
I forgot the microfilm too. We have microfilms too before.
I don't even know what those three things are.
Yeah, you guys and then you have the type of fax. Into 2000, we had the computers.
So let's say, sorry that I called you. Let's say the listings, they came in like in books?
In books, yeah.
Well,
it was like the yellow pages of real estate.
Interesting.
Amazing.
But definitely, Louis, training. Training is important. Have a goal. If you have a mentor or a coach that will guide you, means that someone who already went through that path, it'll make it easier for you. And that's one of the main things that we offer our agents in our office. We have what we call a 30-minute coaching mentoring. Yep. So we could either do it through Zoom or in person. So it's what we call coach on demand. So as the agent needs, so we work with them until they develop. But definitely put your goals in writing, and don't think that right away is going to happen. You have to be consistent. You have to be persistent. Either contacting your seller, showing properties, and most of all, helping with the needs of the client.
That's so important.
Nice.
Yeah, and actually, I want to tie it in with a quote. I think it was Abraham Lincoln. I don't know if it's true, but he says if he has to cut a tree or something like that, and he only has 6 months to do it, he would spend the first 5 months sharpening the axe.
Wow.
So you have to be consistent.
Yeah, I think consistency is a big deal. I think a lot. We're connected today because I wanted to ask a follow-up question. I think oftentimes, and we'll see it on a daily basis, a lot of agents come into the industry, and you can speak on that yourself. More than 35 years of experience, so he's seen a little bit of everything. But I think a lot of times, and maybe now more so, a lot of agents come into the industry and they think, if they're gonna try something, they dibble dabble, they try something for the first 2 months, and then they see that it doesn't work out for them, and they're like, okay, this doesn't work, and then they move on to the next strategy, and then, oh my god, I try, it's not for me, right? And I think a big thing in this career is consistency, because I think we've talked about it in our first episode. The corporate America 9 to 5 doesn't work in real estate. So what do you have to say with regards to consistency, or what have you seen in the industry?
Well, just to define the years that I have in the industry, as you said before, it's more than 35 years. I don't look at it as the years I've been in the industry. I looked at it as the transactions that I've been able to close, the families that I've been able to help, and the agents that have trusted my company and myself to help them grow in the industry. That's really what gives me the experience and the knowledge. Now, going back to your question, put everything in writing. Don't be afraid, of your goals. You have to believe in your goals. And I always look on my daily goals. So sometimes we put, and they got to be realistic.
Right.
We put unrealistic goals that we know we're not even going to accomplish. So one of the things that I always speak to you especially, and to the agents when we have our meetings in the office, is look at making goals daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly. And every quarter you start a new quarter. It's like starting a new year. So don't wait to the end of the year. And let's say your goal today, it was to do 3 items, but you only accomplished 2. Okay, put it for the next day. And you have to say, hey, I'm doing something.
Yeah.
But what's happening with a lot of the agents that come into the industry is that they need to make the money right away.
That's true.
And they're focusing more on the product than on the needs of the client. So you need to focus more on the needs of your client than the product. And in order for that, you need to get training. If you don't come to your trainings, and nowadays you have YouTube trainings, you have videos, you have mentoring, and once again, if you have your real estate license, or you actually getting your license and you join our company, you join Century 21, you will receive the right training, and the right guidance for you to move forward, so you feel more secure. Sometimes we procrastinate a lot.
Yeah.
And I see it, especially with agents. And, I'm not ready to make a phone call. No, I'm not ready to do a podcast. Or I'm not ready to do social media.
They're waiting for the right moment to feel good.
It's never a right
It's
moment.
never a right moment.
Yeah.
It's never, So yes, let's do it. And you will be practicing. Your muscle, your muscle gets stronger. So I have a saying that says, like, going to the gym, and you find a set of a free weight, weighs 50 pounds. Boom, you cannot lift it up right away. But if you every day try it, at the end of the week, you're gonna do 10 repetitions. It's not that your muscles getting stronger. Why? Because you're having more repetition.
Yeah, it's funny that the timing thing came into topic. Today I was posting a video I was doing in the office about that, the right timing, because people are kind of undecided now because of the election and all that's what's going on around it. And it's funny thing, you have to start doing something. I remember when I started, I said I have to do videos, I have to go social media, people have to know about me.
Yeah.
I have to get to people. And I was entirely shy, like this, looking at the phone. I used to try 1,000 times. I deleted it. After I finished it, I deleted it again. I do it again. Today I did 2 takes, and I got the video ready, and it flowed. So it's a huge piece of advice that you're giving us. We can apply. I'm sure we can apply it besides real estate. We can apply it to our lives.
Yeah.
We can apply it to a lot of more areas than only real estate. But it's a huge piece of advice. I want to go deeper inside of real estate. from your experience, you have been in the market for over 35 years. You have moved through the stages of, like, let's call it real estate in your time, and in our time now, you went from analog, per se, in some way, to digital today. What is the hardest client to work with, buyer or seller?
Oh, that's a great question. But let me also, you guys don't remember, when I started, we started with the beepers. And then the beepers. So
Oh yeah, I knew those.
so in fact, my first sale again was a beeper that I got from the person, sending me a beeper to contact him that he wanted to sell the house. And then we had the brick phone, and then all this. So technology, everything has changed. Now, going back to your question, can you rephrase it again?
What's the hardest client to work with?
Okay, buyers or sellers?
Buyers or sellers.
Well, there's no harder client, buyers or sellers. It's basically when you come into the industry, you have to have a sense of awareness. And by having a sense of awareness, it's how you feel comfortable working with. Are you the type of person that like to go and see properties? Usually, from my experience, female realtors like more selling properties than male realtors. Why? Because they're more into details. They come into a house and they can look at the paint, the baseboard, the door, the kitchen, the closet.
Interesting.
The men's basically were more into the numbers. So I remember when I was showing properties, they were talking about renovations. And I was out on the air. And then the husband was also out on the air. And the husband would take me to a corner and ask me, what's going to be the payments? How much is the down payment? So men's were more into the numbers. Not all the cases, but in my case, I feel more comfortable working with sellers. Well, because with sellers, I would come into the house. I would show the seller my value of how can I help them with Century 21 backing me up. How can we make this easier for them? I would look into their needs. What was the reason they were selling? If they were relocating, if they needed to upgrade, downsize, or they were going through a financial situation. So I would sit with them. I would show the seller what I was going to do, what was my plan, and work on the number that they wanted to, at the end of the day, walked out on the closing. That also gave me more opportunity of my time. It's not the same working with sellers that working with buyers. When you're helping buyers, you will be able to show 3 to 5 properties to a client. So think about this. If I have 3 clients, so I'll be showing 15 properties in any given day. And most likely, if they like those properties, I will have 3 deals. But if I have 5 listings on the market, I could sell 5 properties on a day.
And your gas bill is lower.
Well,
gas bill is lower. That's a lot of driving.
So, yeah, definitely. But you have to feel comfortable. You have to be aware, why you feel more comfortable. Helping clients look for homes, or helping that person who wants to sell a property, sell the home and move, because that person who's selling could be also a buyer. So when you're working with a listing, you also have a listing, and that person could be a buyer, or it could be a referral because they're relocating to another state or country. So we'll contact another Century 21 office to do a referral. I have agents in my office that they work, they like working with both. They like working with buyers and working with sellers.
So what I'm getting is you're a listing agent. You
Yes.
liked
Yes.
working. He's a lister.
I'm a buyer agent.
Listing is the name of the game.
In fact, you know that my trainings, when you come up to me, what training I'm going to focus throughout the month, 70% I focus more on listing.
What do you guys like working with?
I'm with the buyers. I kind of enjoy that thing of listening to people. You were talking about listening to people, getting to know their needs, and then starting to hunt for that need. That the lady that called the other day, that I'm hunting for that house that she wants for her grandkids. That's I know what she needs, and so I'm looking
Like
for
the
it.
story and connecting the dots and then
Yeah.
finding it.
Actually, we
Kinda like a
spent
scavenger
we spent
hunt.
like a 30, 40, 45 minutes on the first call talking about what she needed for her grandkids. So that's what I'm looking for.
I like both, but I mean I've had a lot of success with buyers, but what's really important is the kind of buyer that you get.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's some buyers that I'm working with right now that it's been a year and a half and I still haven't been able to find a property for them because some are very picky, whereas there are some who, for example, investors are not that hard to work with. You just find the numbers and that's it. Show them the property. They don't really care too much about how it looks and they just put offers.
So buyers versus.
But I'm pretty well balanced as far as
versus sellers.
listings and buying, like buyers.
Well, let me give another advice, and it happens with the seller too, as well with the buyer, and this will help them better, and be more direct on their needs. Sometimes you're working with a seller, and they don't want to sell; they're looking for someone to buy their home.
Yeah.
And with a buyer, maybe they're not even ready to buy a home. Maybe they just want you to be their chauffeur around town. So you have to sometimes, you have to get red. Like my father always told me, Jose Luis, get red one time, not yellow 3 times. So sometimes you got to tell the client, look, I've looked for 15 properties, 20 properties, based on what you have told me to look for, and you haven't found a property. Yes, let me know when you're ready.
I want to actually get your take on something because you mentioned, showing properties. Sometimes it comes to the case where you don't find what they like. So we all know that the market changed after August 17th, and we won't get into numbers and specifics, but now we have to sign an EBBA with buyers. For realtors, from the realtor perspective, how do you think that's impacted the market as of yet, and how it's going to impact? Do you see it as it's going to shake the industry in a negative way? What is your perspective on that change on August 17th?
Well, it's like every change in the industry, it takes some time for the buyers to get comfortable with, and for us in the industry to educate ourselves and the consumer. I think everything boils down to the education. And I believe this new change is basically protects the buyer and protects us as well. Why does it protect the buyer? Because that way the buyer knows that we're going to be working with them. They're going to know all our duties and responsibilities to help them accomplish their goals, especially in negotiation. We're going to be negotiating deals for them as the buyer agent. So this brings now the seller's agent and the buyer's agent to be well prepared. The more knowledge you have, the more you're going to help your buyer get a better home, save money in that purchase.
Yeah.
And the more prepared you're helping the seller, you're going to help also your seller make more money on the sell. So it's a win-win. And for us, now we have an agreement with that buyer that they know that we're working with them, and they know that now they cannot be shopping around with every realtor.
Yeah.
So there's some trust now established between the buyer and us.
And with supply and demand, do you see that decreasing the amount of people looking for homes now that a buyer has to, not in all cases, again, there's different scenarios and we know about this, we've talked about this, but in a case where let's assume the buyer has to pay out of pocket the compensation to their buyer agent, do you see that affecting the amount of people looking for homes, maybe because they can't afford that? Or
Well,
do you not see it affecting?
Like when Javier was saying on the way here that he was doing, I believe,
The video.
a video, a lot of people right now with the end of the year, we're going through the election. Also, they're expecting the race to drop. They're like on the sideline and expecting. But the real estate market changes. And let's say, for example, tomorrow we wake up and the race drop 1 point. There's going to be more buyers
There's going to be
looking for
madness.
properties. And then the properties are going to go up.
Yeah.
Why? Because there's inventory. In fact, we have seen the inventory increasing.
Yeah, you always need a roof under your head as well.
Yeah. So if you're in the market right now to purchase a home, I wouldn't wait till after the election or after next year. Just do it right away.
I did some research about it. There's not these huge impacts through the years of the election year to into the prices of the houses or into the mortgage rates, interest rates. Sorry, because rates are not going to drop 1 point because it's going to be madness. The market, everybody's going to jump inside, so it's going to be madness. And the prices, they may be shaking a little bit up, down, but they will correct and they stay on course. Through the years, there's not much change because of an election year. So there's no point on waiting if you're ready. That's my point of view.
I think there's always a good time to buy and sell. I think it just depends on you and your factors and your needs because there's different pushing points for different
Absolutely.
people.
Think about it. If right now the house you want is 375,000, January, let's say rates drop 0.5.
Yeah.
People are going to jump in the market, and that seller is going to get 3 calls, 4 calls, 5 calls. People are interested on their house.
Yeah, and it's like I said, you're always going to need a roof under your head. And so if they can't buy, if they can't sell, they're probably going to need to rent. And a lot of times renters also turn into buyers and then future sellers. Just, for example, you have 35 years. I'm sure that somebody that you rented a house to probably ended up buying with you, perhaps. I'm pretty sure. Now, I want to transition to what makes Miami different, because earlier you mentioned Century 21 is in 86 countries. We have 14,000 offices worldwide. Some of those countries that are buying are Colombia, Brazil, Argentina, and then in the States, we have New York, California, Arizona. A lot of people moving to Miami. What do you think makes Miami so special?
It's a melting pot.
It's a melting pot.
It's a melting pot. And we also have the beaches, we have the sand, especially people coming from Central South America. They already have their families here, their language. About Century 21, that was another thing that caught me into Century 21, that is the name, Century 21, and being in so many Latin American countries, Argentina, Venezuela,
They
Mexico.
recognize the name.
Yeah, so it was a network that I would start developing, and people would start buying, as we see here nowadays. So a lot of investors, and it goes because right now we see it in Mexico. The political issues that they have. So you want to protect your money. You want to protect what we call el patrimonio. Your family, your legacy.
Yeah.
What if you have worked hard?
Yeah.
So what better place to United States? And then Miami, then the only bad thing we have is hurricanes. And we know a month ahead that they're coming. So yeah, definitely investing in real estate here, and we see it. There's, I think, from now to year 29 or 27, there's over 80 new constructions that they're going to be building. If you stand up in the middle of Coral Way looking east, you can see the high rises. So right now we have coming, the new stadium, the soccer stadium.
Freedom Park.
That's going to be awesome.
We have the Miami Heat. We have the Lone Depot Stadium. We have the airport. So why not invest in Miami?
Not to mention also all the companies that are coming down and they're opening headquarters down
Yeah,
here.
of
I mean,
course.
we have, I don't know, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, NVIDIA.
NVIDIA,
Tesla.
Tesla.
Tesla opened up a new
Tesla's
one
in
here.
the raw.
Yeah, right here.
I saw it driving by in front of the
That's brand new.
cemetery, no?
That's brand new.
Brand new, small,
Yeah.
but everybody, they're calling it the exodus to Florida, right? It's gonna become the second New York. Maybe it'll top New York. I mean, I don't know. We can have another episode on that.
I'm sure we will.
I can see that you side from Miami, but I definitely think that there's a lot of movement, and I mean, the CEOs of those companies, I would say that they're visionaries. So if they're moving their headquarters down to Miami, they see the opportunities, not just economically, right? But XYZ and other factors.
Yeah, of
and
course.
same for all the other people that are investing from countries like Colombia, Mexico, Argentina, either for economic or political reasons. They find the United States and Miami to be a very safe spot. Not to mention how
Cultural,
close we are.
cultural diversity as well.
diversity.
You could probably find someone from every country in the world living
Well,
here.
guys, what was the last thing that happened, not only to us, to the world, that was bad?
The pandemic.
And what happened with the pandemic? What did people realize that about working? Because we had to be at home.
Yeah.
You're gonna be, and then people on the north, they say, "Well, I'm working. I could work from home, but I'm gonna work here in the snow. I'm gonna work here in the
Yeah.
winter. What better place?" So, what do you got?
And that led to a big exodus of office spaces
A lot
all
of
over the
offices
world.
Gone.
But people from New York, California, what place they selected?
Miami, Florida.
Miami.
So, yeah,
305,
definitely.
305.
Actually, know someone. I was actually talking to an Asian in the office today. She has a daughter, and the daughter likes to travel, and she has a job. And she says, "My daughter is in Indonesia right now." I believe, I think she mentioned Indonesia, and she's still working through Zoom virtually. And that's crazy because now, I mean, not that Zoom and other virtual places existed, but after the pandemic it blew up, and like you said, so many people, their eyes opened up to the fact, hey, I can work and have pleasure, right? And Miami's that
we
pleasure.
can't show homes
No,
from home. We can't list
virtually.
house.
Actually, well, I mean, we can show virtual open houses, but not.
Virtual open houses.
Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that.
but you lose the touch, and I feel like even though at the end of the day, me personally, I'm an old school type of person, and I feel like sometimes you can't go too modern, right? Because you lose that personal touch. And I think
Yeah.
real estate, since it's a service business, it's not a product business, you need that personal touch.
Yeah, you lose the human side
Yeah.
of the business. It's really important to have it.
To me, that's really important. I think this has been a great episode. One
Really
of my
good,
favorites.
really
Yeah,
good,
I've
really
enjoyed. Definitely, we have to repeat this episode.
I mean, we're gonna bring Alberto Cobo. That's
Yeah.
gonna be an exciting one. Some fun stories to share.
Absolutely. I mean, I
Of
guess we
course.
could enter our quick fire round then.
Let's do it.
It's called Getting to Know José Luis Muse. So, the first question is, what is your favorite spot in Miami to relax? To unwind. I mean, if you're relaxing, I don't know.
I could say, for example, El Parque Domino, playing dominoes. If anybody knows about dominoes,
Yeah.
you never relax there because nobody wants to lose. We'll be fighting. But I think the beach, relaxing on the beach, reading a book. But if it was to me, I would be playing dominoes.
Wait, please, before you go into the next question, how many of us here, we live in Miami and we take for granted the beach?
I haven't gone to the
Because I
beach.
take for granted the beach, but then you have people coming from outside paying money to come to Miami to go to the beach.
go
And
to
how
the
many
beach.
times do we as tourists go to Miami Beach?
I have a bad experience of that. That's 2 times I tried to go to Miami Beach
Okay.
and I have been unable to park.
Because of the parking.
I just turn around and
For
go
real?
They
home.
shut them down during spring break.
Actually,
'cause there was a
I'm
whole-
like kind of going to Hollywood to avoid
to
that.
Hollywood Beach.
Yeah,
a
it's
little-
beautiful too. You avoid the parking crisis. Let's say from
And the more north you go, the less packed it is.
yeah,
A little bit. More
a
or
little
less.
bit, more or less.
The thing about the beach is that you sit down, you relax, you hear the water,
That's not- yeah.
you basically
The air.
disconnect.
The
The air,
air. I was gonna say that the air.
Absolutely.
So I got a question that's a bit tricky. That's it's about the question should be what is the thing that you most love about real estate, but the question that I'm gonna ask you is a little bit different. Decided to twist a little bit. What's is there a thing that you hate about real estate?
That's a tough one. That's a good question. For him.
Interesting.
I think that,
I think you made him think about that.
no, it's just that I love everything about real estate. It gives me number one, the freedom of actually my time. I control my time. When I work with a seller or a buyer, it's usually around the time that I'm able to serve them to. It gives me the opportunity to grow because there's no limit. Real estate does not give you a limit. I could be selling an apartment. I could be selling single family home. I could be selling luxury home. I could be selling commercial real estate. And what dislike? Honestly, a deal that I cannot close. That's the only thing.
We all
If I
hate
cannot
that.
close a deal,
You know what his
then
response reminds me of? When you go to an interview and you hear a person
Yeah.
say, "What's your weakness?" "I'm a perfectionist."
I'm a
You're like, "Oh, different."
yeah, so I guess a deal that I'm not able to close, that's the only thing. And in the years in the industry, I wouldn't be, I think all the deals that have come through the tables, I've been able to close them. Even my agent's deals. And I could say if I've lost one or two deals, it's a lot. I think that if there's room for negotiating, and if the buyer and the seller are willing to work together, it will put the deal together.
So, last question of the fire round: what is your favorite spot to eat in Miami? What do you recommend our viewers?
Oh my God!
Man, and I'm hungry.
I don't know if the camera's.
There's too many. Only
I don't
one.
know. I don't know if the camera is getting my belly, but I went to the doctor and says
We'll Photoshop.
I gotta drop a little bit.
Photoshop it, Pete.
I gotta drop a little bit, but definitely it's got to be a Cuban food. I love Cuban food. I'll give you two.
Okay.
Casa Cuba on Sunset, typical Cuban food, and which is my favorite dessert.
The guava cheesecake.
Guava cheesecake.
Wow.
And then Texas Roadhouse on Flagler and
Oldie but a goodie.
92nd, which I also have a sign there. Their steak is delicious, and their bread is delicious. So definitely, those are my two hot spots.
I think definitely if you go to Texas Roadhouse, please take a picture with his sign. His sign is, you won't miss it, says José Luis Muse with his name and number. So take a picture, post it in the comments down below, and tag us on Instagram. And I think before we wrap it up, we got to mention our sponsors again. A big thank you to them. Century 21 Dorar Realty, located on 7281 Coral Way, for all your real estate needs, whether you're looking to buy, sell, or rent a home, or you're looking to venture into the real estate career. Feel free to give us a call, 305-264-6000. And for all of your plumbing needs, our second sponsor, Lion Plumbing Inc., okay? For all of your residential and or commercial plumbing needs, please feel free to give them a call, 305-597-4555. Once again, it's 305-597-4555. Louis?
No, it's
If you are we closing show? Before we close, is there any other questions for me?
I think we're
No more questions. So
we might have to do
we're
a
gonna
part
do
two,
a
though.
part two.
Wait, you're too
Yeah,
good.
we have
We're
to
gonna bring
because
in your partner in crime
I'm sure
in the
we can be
radio
here
industry.
like 2 hours
Well,
talking
but
about.
since this is my first time here, at the beginning I said that I was very happy to obtain my real estate license and surprise my father obtaining the license. And that was one of the things that I always said, we never follow our parents' advice. So Jasmine, my daughter, and Siani's probably watching us too.
Maybe.
I want to say here in public and cameras that both of you surprised me when you got your real estate license, and I'm very happy to have you continue our tradition, you and your sister, and especially you that you're now taking over the office. But let me tell you, I'm not retiring. So you have to wait. I'm still, working with
Putting up
you.
a fight.
But I'm happy to see you, Luis, Javier, our office team, the way, they have come into our office, the way they embrace working with us, being part of our team. And you don't get to be in the industry for so many years if you don't get the help of people that surround you. So definitely very grateful, first to God, to my family, and thankful to all the men and women that have worked through the years in my office as an agent or staff, helping Century 21 Dorar Realty grow, and not only grow, because sometimes you go to the top and you fall down, but it's just maintaining the values, the honesty, and it's like building a home, the foundation that we have. And I'm very proud, I'm happy that, and my father as well, from watching you grow our office, and I know we will continue to grow. So I love you, and thank you for listening to your father.
Well, it's been
Listen to your parents out there. Well, if you're underage.
well, that's pretty much it. It's been an excellent conversation. Once again, Jose Luis, thank you for
Thank you very
joining us.
much.
Javier, Jasmine, thank you for being excellent host. And guys at home, I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. And stay tuned for the next episode.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.